Hello and welcome to Mini Shop's How to Sculpt videos with myself, Elizabeth. Today's request comes from Cyndi and it is a daisy with a little ladybug on it. Alright, before we begin you're going to need a few things. Clay, including white clay, black clay, some red clay, yellow clay, and I like to add a little bit of orange to my daisy center. You'll also need either a toothpick or a potter's needle. I have a video of the tools I use and I'll link that below. I like to use this for the center to indent it, but you don't need it. You can also just use your thumb. A silicone dowel tool, but you can also use an edge of your pen tip, and a knife. I use an x-acto knife, but you can use a butter knife if you'd like. Just don't use it for food after you've used it for clay, because that's not healthy. You also might want like a piece of paper to work on so your counter space or your table doesn't get ruined. Okay, let's begin. We're going to begin by warming up some white clay. You need to warm up the clay before you work with it because otherwise it may crack in the oven and that's really sad. But here we go. We'll take about, it depends on the size you want to make your daisy, but you can take about this much, warm it up. And once you've warmed it up and smoothed it out, you can break off a small piece. And now something I should mention before we get too far into this, white clay gets dirty pretty easily, so you want to make sure to wash your hands before you work with it, or you can have a bit of a different color of clay. I'll show you here. It rubs off pretty easily onto other clay, or different clay rubs off onto your hand. I'll show you how that's ever so slightly pink now. So I'm going to set that aside. White clay is sensitive, so we'll want to make sure to keep it, unless you're fine with little things on it, that's all right. All right, we're going to take a small amount of clay and roll it into a ball. And then I'll split that in half and roll it into a nice soft ball. And then while you're working with it, pinch your thumb and index finger to kind of get together to make a teardrop shape. And pinch and roll, pinch and roll. See, it's coming into this teardrop shape. You can do that with your other hand too and hold the petal in this hand, like so. And then once you have this teardrop shape, you can take the petal and slightly press down, ever so slightly, so that it flattens, like so. All right, there's one petal. And now we can do that multiple times, rolling, pressing between our two fingers into the teardrop shape, and then pressing flat. And then readjusting as we would like. And we'll probably need to make about 12 of these petals to fill around our entire daisy. So just have fun making your little petals. You can watch, I'll show you several more times. I think I won't speed up this part just because it's good to watch and see. And just have fun. It's okay to mess up. So just enjoy the process. You can make several petals of the daisies. All right, and some petals can be thinner than other petals. Here we go. So I really like flowers, but my husband actually likes flowers more than I like flowers. I just knew a few of the names of flowers, like the daisy, the rose, the buttercup, the tulip, but he can look at almost any flower and tell you what it's called, and that was one of the reasons I liked him at first. But There we go. We've got a few petals. And they're fun. When we were on the John Muir Trail, we saw a lot of really beautiful, beautiful flowers because we were in the high Sierras, so at the alpine level it's pretty sparse, but when you see some flowers that are up there, their smell. I've never smelled flowers so nice. There's some that look like little bells and some that were like big, huge blooms of flowers. And we have several friends who grow flowers, and they're so pretty. So it's fun to make flowers. Okay, as you're doing this, you can make them small or big, everything you want. Once you have a few petals collected, or just a few petals, we'll take 2 petals and set them next to each other like this and kind of push them together. Just apply slight pressure, not so that they're squished, but just so they're close enough. And then take another petal and then slightly press it onto those next 2 petals. I'm having a feeling I may need to make more petals, but we'll just go around like that. Keep pressing the petals together. And then we're going to want to leave kind of a hole in the center, so don't put them too close together. Just press slightly, like so. I'm pressing again. I'm doing this because I don't want to like overlay the flowers like that, or the petals. And if you want to have that effect, that's that's cool too. I hesitated on that because I couldn't think of the word. But that's all personal preference, and it's fun to just make your flower however you want it. So here we go. We'll just keep adding flowers to our circle, kind of adjusting them as we go around too. And if you see some of your petals start to get bigger or smaller, you can either take a little bit of clay off, like that one I think is too big, so I'll just pull a little clay off the bottom, like that, and then I will reattach it after I drop it. All right, there we go. Yep, I'm gonna need to make a few more petals, but here we're almost done with this portion. Like so. Like that. And then I'll just make like 2 more petals. Like that one, and then this one, flattening them, and then setting them here, just to the side. And I kind of open up the flower a little bit, like that, and then press, oops, see what I mean? White clay gets stuff on it really easily. We're gonna redo that, but if yours went great, that's good. Mine did not in that section. Just press them together, like that. So now we have this portion of the flower. I'm going to take my finger and press right here, ever so slightly, pressure, so that they all kind of smush together and get some hold. Now you can also take this there and just for a little bit extra support, but you can just use your thumb for the same. Now this clay, what I've done is I've mixed a little bit of yellow and a little bit of orange together to give it more of a natural look. And you can do that, or you can make it the bright, bright yellow, or even an orange, whatever you'd like. So now we're going to take about as much as a petal and a half of this yellow clay and roll it into a ball. And then we're just going to slightly press it down. And then soften the edges with our thumb, pressing all around so it kind of has a sloped edge. And set it in the center of our daisy. Now if it looks too big or too small, you can redo it however you want, but I like my size, so I'll put it right there. And ever so slightly tap on your daisy so that it stays there. Sorry, I just bumped the camera. Okay, back to it. So, what we're going to do now is you can either take your thumb, or I like to take this tool, and indent the center of the daisy, like so, just to give it a kind of look like that. And then we'll take this silicone dowel tool, or a pen tip, and press in the center of each petal. Just like that. Going all the way around. Around and around. Now if you're using the silicone dowel tool that I link in the description, it's got these seams on the side, so you'll want to press down with the side that doesn't have the seam so that you don't have a line in the middle, or a non-aesthetic line in the middle of your flower petal. All right, once you've got that, you can, this is an option, to take your flower and add tiny, tiny bits with your toothpick or potter's needle, just so it looks like the little pollen ends of your daisy. And this could be, you could just do the edges, you could do the whole thing, but just ever so slightly jab, ever so slightly jab your daisy. And when you're doing this, don't pull through the hole, just in and out, so that it doesn't smear, I guess. Smear the hole. Sounds weird, but yeah, just so they're clean looking. That's the word. All right. Now that we have a lot of those little holes there, let's make our ladybug. Okay, take some red clay, about, let's say, 1/8 of the size of your daisy petal, but it can be more, just depends on how big you want your ladybug. And then roll it into a ball. And once you roll it into a ball, press it between your fingers, just so that it's kind of flat. And then you're gonna just hold it over, my clay's running away. Hold it over your daisy to see if that's a good size. I might want to add a little bit more clay to mine, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. Roll it together so it smooths out, and then press it down again. And then doing the same thing with our, as we did with the center of the daisy, kind of rounding out the edges. Then we're going to take about half as much, maybe 1/3 as much or 1/4 as much black clay, roll that into a ball, and then kind of into an oval shape, and then flatten part of it, and then attach that to the top of the red clay, like so. So it's starting to be a little ladybug. You can put it on here just to see, again, if it's a good size. And then what we're going to do is take, actually, mine looks too big. His head's too big. So I'm going to take off a little bit and redo that portion, like so. And it's okay to start again too if you accidentally squish him or something, or her. All right, now we're going to take our knife, and you can do this on a hard surface, but I like to have it kind of closer to my face so I can see better, and just ever slightly draw a line with the sharp edge of your knife. If your toothpick is thinner than your knife, then I'd recommend using the toothpick, but I like how fine the knife can make the line of the wings. So there we go. Now we can take the knife into the black clay, grab a little bit, about that much, and then we'll make a bunch of tiny circles. Now this is what I do, but I recommend putting it on the paper and cutting it. I just set it on my finger, kind of using it as my palette, and cut a tiny bit off, like that, and roll that into a ball, and then add a dot to the ladybug, like so. If it's too big, take it off. You can use the knife to take it off. Cut a little bit off, re-roll it, and then set it back on. And then we'll do this a few times. You can make your ladybug with 1 dot, 2 dots, 15 dots, however many you want. That's the fun part about clay, is you can experiment with it and have fun. All right. I think I'll make this one with 3 dots on each side. So that's what I'll do. Adding the dots. And when I set the dots on them, on the ladybug, I kind of ever so slightly press the ladybug so that it settles into the red clay. All right. Now, while I'm doing this, I think I'll say I use Sculpey clay, and you can look up Sculpey clay, or you can use Play-Doh. You can use any type of clay you'd like, but that's my preference because it's the easiest to work with, and it bakes really well in a normal oven at 275 per 1/4 inch, 275 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, adding the last few dots here. I bet your ladybug's so cute, because mine is. I like him. All right, here we go. We're gonna take our little ladybug. If it's gotten stuck to your hand, what you can do is either take a toothpick underneath or a knife and just set your ladybug on there like that. So we can pick up our flower, but be careful because your hands are now covered with red clay and black clay, and you don't want to get your I did not plan that. The red clay and black clay can get easily on the white clay, and then you'll take your ladybug and just set it down. But I think he looks cute where he fell, so I'll just slightly press the top of him. And actually, what I'm going to do is take the knife and press that seam between the red and the black, just to add a little bit more traction so that it stays on the daisy. All right, once you have this finished, I like to sign my name on the back. So flop it over. We'll say EZK Mini Shop. And 2020. Then if you want to make this a magnet, you can do that after it's baked. Again, baking at 275 for 15 minutes if it's Sculpey clay. And I hope you guys had fun. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and if you'd like to see more. If you've got questions or requests, please let me know down below. I'd be really happy to answer them all. Have fun. Bye.